Good evening and welcome to the November 22nd meeting of the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners. We're glad that you're here this evening. We ask now if you have your cell phone or any other electronic device, if you would just turn that off until we finish with the meeting. Please stand for the invocation to be given by Commissioner McCoy, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would y'all bow with the approach the throne? Lord, we just come to you just thanking you so much, even for this time of the year, Lord, when we can actually return things to you. Lord, we're so thankful for our country and what it stands for. Lord, we're thankful for you being in our midst. Lord, help us always to make those decisions that will be becoming to, especially to your name, as well as to Meriwether County. And as always, Lord, we look to you to help lead, guide, and direct us in all that we say and all that we do here. And above all, Lord, we thank you for Christ. And we just recognize him as the author and finisher of our faith. All these things, Lord, we repeat in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first of all, we'll need to adopt the agenda. Are there any additions?
Madam Chair, I would like to add to the agenda the discussion of Leroy Robinson Road, please.
Okay, number 5. New business. Are there any others? Hearing none, can we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Next, we have the finance report. Mr. Bill has handed us a
There are
report.
several reports here, Madam Chair. The first one is the county bank balances. The general fund remains pretty strong. We did move some money from the T-Splost account to the T-Splost Treasury Department, State of Georgia account to get a higher interest rate. We may be moving, after a couple of checks from the tax commissioner's office this month, we'll probably be moving money out of the general fund to the LGIP downtown as well. But everything remains pretty strong. You've got the analysis on the 2020 Splost and T-Splost before you. It's pretty self-explanatory. The averages still remain pretty strong for Splost and T-Splost, so we're pleased with that. For instance, the 10 months of 2022 on the Splost, we've averaged 148,000, and for the T-Splost, for those same 10 months, we've averaged 123, which is about $20,000 and $30,000 over our adjusted averages that we did 6 or 8 months ago. So we're real pleased with that. And unless you have any questions, that's all I have.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? None. Thank you, Mr. Bill. All right, do we have anyone signed up for citizen comment? Okay. All right, next we'll move on to the minutes for the November 9th, 9 a.m. regular meeting. We've had an opportunity to look over these. Are there any corrections or changes that need to be made?
The McIntyre.
Yes, that is the only change.
Need to change the name.
The spelling.
From I to an E. On
Okay.
McIntyre.
All right. Anything else? Can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. All right, we do have need for a public hearing tonight. We have 3 different ones, so we'll be going in and out of public hearing for each of these items listed. Can I have a motion to go into a public hearing for the Meriwether County and Cities Joint 2022-2042 Comprehensive Plan Update?
So moved.
You have a second? Second. All in favor? All right, we're in public hearing.
Excuse me.
You need a pen? Here, I'll go get one.
Okay.
I guess I'll take over from there.
I guess that's you.
I think we've got there we go. Let's see if this works. Oh, technology, right? All right, we have success, great. Good to be with you all again tonight. My name is Paul Gerald, and I am with the Three Rivers Regional Commission, just up the road in Georgia. And We are a 10-county planning agency, and we assist our local governments with various, we assist our communities with various planning initiatives. We also have workforce development, our area agency on aging, and transit services that you may be well aware of. And so we are here tonight because we are going to help the county and the cities with the comprehensive plan update. This is a joint comprehensive plan with all the local governments being involved. And so our vision for that will be the next 20 years. So when we sit down and we think about the vision that we have for our community, we think in that 20-year vision timeframe. And this is the first of the public hearings that we'll have. We'll have one right now. We'll have one at the end of the process with plenty of public opportunity for public input in the middle of all that. So I've just got a quick PowerPoint to kind of go over with you all. We always ask the question of why do we do a comprehensive plan? We used to have state law being the Georgia Planning Act of 1989 at the top, but I put that at the bottom because I believe that that should be the last reason why we do it, because we should be doing it because we want to establish a broad-based community vision for the future. So we want to capture those things that are going on in our community that are doing great, but also capture those things in the community that need to be improved. And that's what the assessment of existing needs, conditions, and opportunities does for us. So part of the plan looks at what are the needs in the community that need to be addressed to reach the vision that we want to see. And then the next step is we establish goals and strategies which will help address those needs. So a lot of those needs and conditions could become future goals, and we could have strategies to help promote those goals. And various topics within those two categories are, you think about transportation needs, you think about community facilities and services, you think of natural and cultural resources, you think of housing, economic development, broadband. Even now we have to talk about broadband because we know how important that is. So all those separate topic areas are woven into the plan. And we also want to build upon previous planning efforts. We know the plans are updated every 5 years, but a lot can happen in 5 years. You may have things that are going on, some sort of initiatives, tourism-based, or any other infrastructure needs that are being addressed that we want to talk about. So we want to capture those things that are going on and that are successful.
He needs his PowerPoint, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much.
I do have backup, so I can keep going.
I can share with everybody.
That's okay. Thank you. And we also want to use the plan to formalize implementation and leverage public and private investment. So that being said, at the end of the plan, we take all the things, all the issues and needs and goals and strategies that we have into place, and we really focus those into a 5-year work program. And those are the high priority projects that we want to see done. And each local government in the community has their own work program. So the county will have its program, and all the cities will have their separate programs as well. And all of this helps the community keep their QLG status. That's the qualified local government status, which actually you have to be able to apply for grants and permits and other state initiatives. And again, state law. So if you really want to get in the weeds of why we're here, you look at the Georgia Planning Act of 1989. So we have a comprehensive plan team. We had a nice large group last time we updated the plan. This is kind of our roundtable group of folks that we will utilize to complete the plan update. Of course, we have city and county staff. We've got the consultant team, as I will be with the Regional Commission and my colleagues. We will form a steering committee, and I'll go into a little bit more detail about that next. Of course, we're going to involve the public as much as we can in various ways. And then, of course, you as the elected officials as well at the kind of the beginning and end of the process. So the Plan Steering Committee, this is one of the things that the state requires us to put together for the plan update. And its purpose is to oversee and guide the development of the plan. And two requirements within that committee are having a member of the local governing body, so at least one from every local government, and then some member or members representing the economic development sector. That can be DDA representatives, that can be Industrial Development Authority, that can be chamber groups, business owners, that kind of person. And then any other local community stakeholders and citizens that represent a wide spectrum of interests in the community. What we can do is build upon the list that we had before to kind of get an idea of who is involved. And other public participation activities, we include the steering committee as part of that because it does involve community stakeholders. But we also typically have some sort of community visioning event, some sort of open house. Thanks to Theron, last time we had multiple open houses, thanks to his hard work with that. But we had one main one here in the administration building. So we'll do something similar to that to kind of get as much regular citizenry input as we can on what their vision is for the future. We also did a survey last time as well. So there's various ways that we can involve the public. And then at the end of the process, we have what's called a regional plan review period, and that is a 30-day period that the plan will be sent out to all your neighbors, so all your adjacent governments and counties. They'll have a chance to look at the plan, and that's another time period where we'll get additional impact and input from those folks. We'll also get our official approval from the Department of Community Affairs during that time as well. So as I said at the beginning, all the plans are a 20-year outlook, but they are updated every 5 years to take into account all the needs that go on in the community. And here we've got our plan framework. So this is kind of the bulk of the plan. I mentioned kind of these separate sections before, but the community goals section, that includes our vision statement, our goals and policies and strategies that we want to implement. We've got our needs and opportunities section, which talk about the needs and the opportunities within the community. That can be a list or a more in-depth discussion. Of course, we've got the land use section of the plan. So that talks about our future land use aspirations. And again, that's something that all the communities, individual communities in the community will put together. There's a map for each individual government. And since under the Department of Community Affairs, Meriwether County is listed as a tax tier 1 district because of economic status, so we have to do a separate enhanced economic development section of the plan. And then, of course, that community work program that I mentioned at the end, which incorporates all those priority projects that we talked about. And all of this is currently part of the current plan, our 2018 to 2038 plan. So we can easily get you copies of that if you want to look through that and see what we're looking at completing. This is kind of our process timeline. We have the October meeting listed there first because we were going to have that in October, but we're going to have it here today in November. So that's correct. That all of those activities I kind of mentioned in the presentation before. So that just kind of gives you an idea of our end goal being June when the plan is updated and will be adopted. So our adoption date will be June. So we'll work back from that. So hopefully we'll have a draft complete and ready for review by April or May. And so this is my contact information. I am the project contact for the update at the Regional Commission, but we'll also involve my colleague, Stephanie Wagner, and our GIS coordinator, Shari Selch, and she'll be helping with all the mapping needs that we'll have for the project. So I know that was kind of a lot of information kind of thrown at you, or I'm willing to take questions if the commission desires so, or from the public as well.
Hey, Paul.
Yes, sir.
You just pointed out here, June 2018.
Oh, it is? I'm sorry. Well, let's make that 2022. 3, yes, sorry. Yes, that's right. But I'm easily contactable in my email and my phone number. So if there's any questions, please just give me a ring. And we'll take any kind of questions from the public at this point.
We have a change of 3
Yeah,
commissioners.
yeah.
So when do you have to have a decision as to who's going to be on there for
Well, as soon as we can. We can kind of have a working group, and if there needs to be any kind of new folks coming in, I mean, that's fine too. It's probably good to go ahead and get kind of going on the meat of the plan, just because of that timeline, you know, but,
And it's like the first committee meeting's supposed to be in December.
yeah, this is kind of approximate, you know, we can always kind of double up on some months if we need to. And if there are any appointments from your districts, maybe they can just be passed along to the new folks, you know, hopefully there's just kind of an understanding this process has kind of already started, you know, but we'll involve the new folks as much as we can.
Do we have a copy of who was on our steering?
We do,
committee
absolutely,
before?
we do, yeah.
I mean, I don't remember all who was on, but I know there's representatives from all the,
Yeah, that we have the whole list in the front of the plan,
I
so.
mean, I guess I was really, do we have it tonight?
Oh, sure.
So we could even sort of look at it to see, get an idea of where.
Certainly get that. They only have one copy, but certainly let you have an
Well, we can make a copy of it or whatever. I was just curious. I just couldn't remember. All right, we had 3 county commissioners on it. That was, and then 1 person from each city. And then a citizen from each district.
And there's no rule
And
of.
then the authorities and that kind of thing.
So who of the elect has?
That's
1,
right,
2, 3.
that's right.
I'm just kidding. I mean, it'd be something to be good for them to be involved in, though, because, to start off with, I mean, because
Yeah.
it's a lot of, anybody else needs to see this, or I don't remember. I can pass that back to you. So, when do we need to have the committee formed then? Is that something? I mean, we won't have another meeting this month, and we're at the end of the month here.
Yeah. So I mean,
We'll meet again on December the 14th.
and technically, there's no real rule that you have to appoint them officially at a BOC meeting.
Oh, okay.
So that you're not really attached to that. But if you feel like you need to formally, officially, appoint someone at your official business meeting, that's up to you. But there's no.
So that's something our staff
Requirement.
could work on, as far as getting
Yes, ma'am.
from
Yeah.
the cities, but then the board needs to be thinking about people
Yeah.
from the community to be on there, from their district, and then they decide what commissioners will be serving on the
That's right.
board as well.
And it's a different situation with 3 changing out. So.
Right. It is. It is. So I don't know if someone if whoever is nominated by your districts now, you just kind of understand that maybe that person that's appointed just carries on the torch, I'm not sure. But it's real flexible. But I would just kind of say it's probably good to go ahead and get this group together so we can maybe hopefully have a meeting by December or maybe even 1st of January. I mean, if we push it to January, that's okay. We'll just have to kind of maybe double up on some efforts.
And refresh my memory, how often did the committees meet?
Ooh,
It's,
I'm sure that's in the plan somewhere how often we
Yeah.
met, but I know it was at least monthly. It may have been twice up there, and I don't know if you can remember, but
I think in the beginning, we've been more frequently.
Yeah.
And everything kind of outlined, so I think for a couple of weeks.
yeah,
and that's just something the new commission should be thinking about, because they wouldn't have any idea, what it was. So you'd be looking at a couple of commitments probably per month initially
yeah,
to get the plan going.
right,
So maybe they could be thinking about between themselves if who would be willing to serve or want to serve. And maybe they could just communicate with Michelle,
right.
and then the ones that will still remain on the board and decide who wants to be in it.
You need to advertise those meetings, well.
Need to what?
Advertise the meetings.
Yes, that's
You
true.
you can.
If we have three, we'll have to. because
Right,
there'll be a quorum.
right. Well, and see, technically, there's only one official requirement to have one elected person per body.
Okay.
So you wouldn't need to have, so your appointee wouldn't need to be an actual commissioner.
We just had three commissioners on it last time. By
Okay.
choice, I guess, because it was
Okay.
Commissioner Hines and myself and Commissioner Brooks.
So yeah, if you do that, you would need to advertise. Yeah, if you've got a quorum, yeah. Which, okay. Did we advertise that way last time? We did? Okay.
We would have had to
Okay.
have, if we had.
It's always good to be safe.
We did.
Yeah,
So if you do two, you don't have to have the advertising.
gotcha.
Okay. Any other questions from? So is it, just let Michelle proceed with contacting the cities? Commissioners need to be thinking about someone from their district.
Reach out to the elects.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a suggestion, because one of the challenge was that the public didn't really understand the dynamics of what this was going to be like. So once again, there's an opportunity to get people engaged. You may want to let people know, be it on our social media platform, that there's an opportunity for them to participate. And if they're interested, then they can submit their names and their background and their interests. It allows those who want to be a part of what the growth looks like in the next 10 years. So that's just a suggestion, just in case, because a lot of times when we did this, there were a lot of citizens who expressed they didn't even know what a comprehensive plan is and why we have to do it. And then some showed interest. So it's just an option. You may get more people to
We
get
did meet in
engaged.
the different, I believe it was each city, wasn't it, where we met to have like
Yeah, we
a
did.
town hall
Right.
meeting?
Yeah, it's a big county.
Yeah,
Sure is.
But that was after we had already selected the people on the
that's
team.
right, you're right. We can certainly put something on our page, just see if there's,
Yeah. And if we develop a survey of some sort, we can certainly put that on the Facebook page and
yes.
make flyers with QR codes, make it as easy as possible for people to give input, for sure.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion to go out of public hearing?
So move.
We have a second? All in favor? We're out of public hearing. All right, do we need to take any action as far as that? Okay. All right, next, can we have a motion to go back into public hearing for the Meriwether County Industrial Development Authority's request to rezone 2 parcels from rural reserve to industrial?
So move.
Have a second? All in favor? All right, we're back in public hearing.
Good afternoon. All right, coming before you is the Meriwether County IDA, Industrial Development Authority. They're requesting to rezone 2 parcels from rural reserve to industrial. This is a total of 7.29 acres, tax map parcels 004, 006, 004, and 005. It's located at 7418 Lone Oak Road. The purpose is for the manufacturing industrial buildings. They have acquired this property and it's in the area with all the other industrial, who are familiar with the area. And so they are just asking to have it consistent with the current zonings around it.
Does anyone have any questions? Is there anyone here to speak for or Ms. Jane?
I'll just say,
Come up there where they can hear you online, okay?
this property is contiguous with our other industrial development authority, and it's just increasing the size of our industrial site that we have from 40 acres up to about 47 acres. So we just need it changed. Sign my name. Any questions of anyone?
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Jane? Okay, is there anyone present who wants to speak against this request? Okay. Sharp, anything else?
That's all on that one.
Okay. All right, can we have a motion to go out of public hearing?
So move.
Have a second? All in favor? What's the pleasure of the board regarding the request before us?
I make a motion that we move forward and allow this.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, abstain. All right. All right, can we have a motion to go back into public hearing for a request to rezone 0.12 of an acre within 111 acres from agricultural to A1 special use? Have a
Second.
motion, have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
He jumped in there to beat me.
All right, Ms. Sharp.
Okay, this is a request from Miss Angela Han. She owns 111 acres. It's zoned agricultural. It's property tax map 077012. It's also located at 2005 Highway 100 Greenville. The purpose is to rezone this 0.12 of an acre for a family cemetery called the Han Family Cemetery. The state requires that all cemeteries have to be named and registered with the state. Our ordinance does allow this under a special use. It's located to the right of the driveway at the old home place.
Okay, I do not see Ms. Hand here.
She was not able to make it tonight.
Okay, and I may be wrong, but isn't it in our policy that the applicant has to be present for us to
It
hear?
is.
So
We have to table it.
we'll have to table it, because if we
So next month.
don't, it'd be a while before she could reapply, right? So,
Table it to next month.
okay.
Since you opened the meeting, I would suggest, Michael, tell you, we just continue it.
That's what I was gonna suggest.
Continue it to next month.
We won't actually table it, we'll just continue it. Okay. Let's go out of public hearing and then we'll make the motion to continue, okay?
Make a motion to go out.
All right, have a second? All in favor? Can we have a motion to continue this public hearing from Miss Angela Han?
So moved.
Have a second? Second. All in favor? All right, thank you. All right, we do not have any appointments to make tonight. Unfinished business is the approval of the Meriwether County Code of Conduct. This was something that we talked about at our last meeting. You have a copy of a updated. It's somewhere. I got it right here. Okay. All right, you need Ms. Irizarry?
This is the updated Code of Conduct. It was updated on November 17th by Mr. Michael Hill. There is 2 copies here. One shows the markup and one shows it without the markup, just so you can kind of see the changes that were made. There was some discussion that went on between Colonel Hadley and Michael Hill. And if you have any questions, he can answer those for you.
And just to clarify for the board, most of the markup is to try to fine tune the language to avoid vagueness, and so that you don't have a lot of subjective criteria in your code of conduct. Most of what you'll see remaining is objective. And then we wanted to make sure it was consistent with, constitutional and state areas such as firearm regulation, et cetera.
All right, does anyone on the board have any questions? Any comments? Okay. Hearing none, what is the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion that we accept as presented.
All right, do we have a second? Second. All in favor? All right, we have a new code of conduct. Thank you. All right, now we'll move on to new business, and first item is Meriwether County Planning Commission.
Madam Chair and Board, as you know, Meriwether County ordinances requires for a planning commission that hears rezoning requests and makes a recommendation that comes to before the board. This board was likely established before we had staff that were able to do a lot of the things that are being done now. And we've had problems with quorums in the past with this group. Again, this group only makes recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. Because of this, and because we have a professional staff in place to review these and send the recommendations forward to the Board of Commissioners, we would like the board to consider revising our ordinances and possibly eliminating the requirements for a planning commission.
Any questions?
Madam Chair, I do. So isn't the planning commission available so that citizens can also be there to hear what's being said? Or don't citizens come to these meetings and also get a chance to hear the information ahead of time?
They do,
So
but those
by
are also
eliminating
done.
this, citizens no longer will have that ability to hear that prior to it coming to the board.
But with
No, there would
quorum-
be a public
But
hearing,
with no quorum, there's still no meeting.
I
right?
understand that. If the quorum is based on the fact, making sure that those who are on the committee know their obligation to be there, but eliminating it altogether, eliminate public input prior to it coming to the Board of Commissioners.
Well, that public input can still happen in a public hearing. Because that would be in the report, that report would still come forth with a public hearing.
Okay, are there any other questions or comments?
Staff would like to recommend that we set a public hearing to change this ordinance on December 14th, our next meeting.
Okay, all right, can we have a motion to set the public hearing?
So moved.
Have a second? Second. All in favor? All opposed? All right, be set for December 14th. Number 2 is the Meriwether County 2023 LMIG projects. And I know in your package you have a list and some information from Mr. Cawthorn. This will be.
He's making his way up here.
Hello.
Just wanted to discuss the upcoming 2023 LMIG project. In the tissue paper there, we're talking about the Good Road projects that the board had committed every year. And the amount of money that that was going to take. And then we've had some discussion about Forest Road and some of the real bad severe areas on that road. And we're also recommending that maybe include in this LMIG, at least at a minimum, some safety overlays in those real severe areas, because I don't think we're going to get assistance from GDOT on Forest Road. So, and that estimate for Forest Road overlay, if the board selects, is about $85,000. So that leaves a balance of about $565,000 to choose the rest of the projects for the 2023 LMIG. So we've been doing kind of each district got a road or two. So if Forest Road and Luthersville Road continue to be on this project, that brings us down to approximately either 1 mile per district that we could do under LMIG, or we could select other projects and maybe do 1 road or 2 roads in 1 or 2 districts.
You're saying like we've done in the past where commissioners would go together and do a little longer section?
Could do that. It's kind of, and we kind of need that information to know how to put this together for the LMIG program.
I think we had discussed, this is maybe even 2 years ago, not so much looking at it per district as looking at the worst roads, because we have some that are in such bad shape, but then we also have some that we need to do something to keep it from getting in such bad shape that it costs us so much money to do. And I know that's how the Luthersville Road and the Forest Road projects came about. But as far as I'm concerned, of course, I will not be here next year, but if we have 5 miles left that we're able to do, I think we need to look at what's the worst.
If you want to do the worst, or if you want to do another long section to prevent it from getting bad.
That's
because
right, yeah.
Because we, in the county, there's, we've got like 92.8 miles of road that are having to be reconstructed. That if you went and resurfaced it, and that's all you did, it's just gonna fall apart. So you're wasting your money on that. So it's kind of a decision whether we wanna maybe pick a long road. I put Imilac in there, like if you could finish all of Imilac.
When do you need this by?
Probably by your next meeting on the 14th, I think would be good. We just need some direction, and then we can put the roads together, whether or not you want to combine, like we've been doing on Luthersville. Right now, by the way, we've got Luthersville estimated at 1 mile of work, but we did receive a telephone call today, so we have a verbal that the commitment that we were going to make on the other road, Hope Creek will be transferred to Luthersville.
Oh, well, that's good.
So that was good news, so we could do an extra mile.
You could do 2 miles.
I think we're gonna do 2, because if we're gonna try to do a little bit each year, it's gonna take us several years to get Luthersville done.
That's right. So we could do that, and then you have some dollars left over, because like Forest Road is really in bad shape, and it needs to be reconstructed. And what I think Bill was trying to do was just extend the life of that road and the safety of that road by doing an overlay until we could go back and hopefully get some more dollars to do the full day.
It was more of a safety thing to keep somebody from having an accident.
Didn't we approve the overlay?
We talked about it, but
We were waiting to hear back from the DOT.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 85,000 for the overlay, but 2.1 million for the total part of.
And the overlay is just small sections.
Right.
Be 1.2, but now that we're adding the 500,
2.1 is what it says.
It'll go to 1.7 total, right?
And I've done some estimates on some of the roads. Ms. Beth, you said that you and Adam were.
Yeah, we had talked about some roads in the district. I was just trying to get him familiar with it, and I'll just tell him I had gotten them to check out some roads that we mentioned, and they do meet the requirements as far as need, but so do many of others in the
Like the farthest
county.
leg of Stovall Road, it would kind of fit into, if y'all divided into one, each commissioner got a mile,
Do
but.
you have a list like you normally do for the LMIG of the worst ones in each of our districts?
We've got the evaluation sheet,
Right.
of the worst to the best. So it's kind of like, what would y'all like to do? Would you like to attack some really bad roads?
I want to go and look in my district first to see, because I know there are some that need it before I commit to giving that part away to any other district.
I mean, if y'all could just give me a phone call back and I could do estimates on those and see where we stand.
And even if you took the 565,000 that could be divided between the other districts, even if you put that on Forest Road, that still wouldn't be but a quarter of what was needed.
Right.
To do that road, but I know that's one that we have talked about that is in such dire.
And that may be one you have to do like we're doing Luthersville Road.
A little bit at a time.
Madam Chair, I'd just like to make the suggestion, since Bill put so much effort in looking at all these roads and evaluating them, I think it's imperative that you go back to that and do an update. And I think that update should be provided as frequently as possible, because once again, we rated those roads, but if you don't go back a year or 2 years to see the status of those roads may have gotten worse. So we need to know, and there needs to be a system in place that the county can keep a better track of what that looks like.
I reevaluate the roads that are selected or candidates to be selected. Those
What
that
I'm
are,
saying is, though, if, let's say you ranked all those roads 4 or 5 years ago, and you gave them a rating. Let's say one that you rated as a 4. If you go back and look at it a year or 2 years later to see, is it still a 4, maybe it's a 5. So, because of the amount of traffic, the amount of volume that's on roads, I'm just making a suggestion that we go back and look at this more periodically. And I think this board has discussed, and in the new commissioners coming on may decide to do something totally different, is to not do it so much by district, but do it by the worst road. Because at this rate, if we just strictly do it by district, it's gonna be hard. You're gonna have some roads that are just gonna be, but once again, you've got a new incoming board that may look at this totally different, but regardless of how it looks at, you need to have good data in order to move
I'll say,
forward.
I think you have good data, and I think you've done a good job.
Well, those that are in the
Oh, I wasn't saying he
30 to
wasn't.
28 range, they're not gonna get any better
Right.
until you address it.
And
Those
that's
that
a
are-
working document, you constantly update it.
Those that we've done in the LMIG programs over the past 5 or 6 years, those would be ones we continue to look at and upgrade those. But these that are in the 30 range to 27, they're not gonna get any better.
If we could, if the board was agreeable to look at the concept and continue with Luthersville Road, the mile, and then we'll add the other mile, that the state's gonna help us with, and then we could maybe do the overlay on Forest, and then we could come back, I think, at next meeting with 2 or 3 options. One would be some roads that we could pave or pull over and preserve. The other could be some combination roads. And then we could also come back with the worst roads, the 5 miles of worst roads in the county and what you want to do. One of the problems with picking the very worst roads is going to be, you're not going to get them all. You're going to probably get about 1 mile
That's
instead
exactly right.
instead of 5 miles.
Yeah, if you go at the worst, you're gonna just get 1 mile out of that. So that's kind of like, you want to preserve a few and then do Luthersville, which we're rebuilding. So you're kind of doing 2 things at one time. So at some point, 100 years down the road, you maybe meet together.
Don't even worry about it.
Madam Chair, I do have one other question. In reference to the safety part, there are a lot of roads that need striping. So is that a different set of money, or is that comes out of the same pool of money?
It's
The
usually
roads
part of the
that,
contract with the LMIG.
Yeah.
A lot of times
There
we
have
just-
been safety limits.
I would say we have gotten safety limit too, though, to use for the
striping?
striping,
Time to
yes.
plow-
There are some
plow, yeah.
roads that definitely there's no striping at all. So we may want to look at those roads. They don't need any resurfacing, but they definitely need striping.
You could do those within this Lamig contract too, because striping is an option for you too.
I had one question, Madam Chair. Mr. Bill, are you taking in consideration the traffic flow that's coming on these roads now? I mean, that seems like almost a factor you'd have to look into.
Yeah, I mean, that's where there are the conditions they are, I think.
Yeah.
That- Or either they haven't been addressed in a long time. There's other things that can be done once the road's in better shape, like crack seal, kind of crack seal to seal up your longitudinal and traverse cracking. That'll slow that breakdown down.
I guess what I was thinking, even though we've done the work on Luthersville, the other night we get an email from Michelle. One of our ambulances tears its mirrors off going down Luthersville Road because it meets another vehicle.
It's just, the sections that we haven't addressed are so narrow.
I know.
You travel that road a lot, especially if you're at night.
And we're going to 21 feet on Luthersville Road instead of 19.
Like I said, that's got to be done, and that's a long road, and it's just gonna take some time, but I mean, it's encouraging to know that we could get 2 miles done instead of the 1 mile this year since GDOT's come.
And I would say
Transfer the
that,
money.
you guys just need to continue talking to GDOT, pressing that. And, we got a little over $500,000 this year. Maybe we'll get that next year. And we'll keep chugging away and we get it taken care of. So,
All right, so we need to have something back by our December 14th meeting, or,
Is it a
We
consensus?
kind of need to
of-
know what to look for.
Okay.
Do you want to do save some and then let Luthersville get reconstructed? And that way we're just kind of working together.
And then over, safety overlay on Forest.
And safety overlay on
My
Forest,
opinion
then
would
I
be
can
to
look for
continue
those.
with
that-
Luthersville and Forest like we'd already planned, and then we come back with a plan what we do with the other 5 miles. Like that's my opinion.
I've got some estimates for like Miss Rosala on Dallas Mill, which I know that's not gonna be your district, but that was $380,000 to do that one little section.
King, the Greenville end of King needs to be looked at also.
Which, yes, I've looked at it, and it's 2.6 miles, it's gonna cost a lot. I've got an estimate on that too.
It doesn't, the patching doesn't seem to be holding.
Anybody else have any comments or thoughts about, let's give them some direction of how to go before we meet again?
I think if we can just get the commitment on Luthersville and the safety overlay, we come up with some options for you guys.
That's what we said we were gonna do, so. as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I'd make a motion for us to proceed with the Luthersville Road and the overlay on Forest Road. And then in our next meeting, we'll be ready to make some kind of decision on those other 5 miles. I'll make that in form of a motion.
You got a second?
All right, all in favor?
All right,
Thank
y'all.
you.
thank you.
All right, next we have a MOU, GIS1 LLC and Meriwether County.
Yes, ma'am. Currently, we have a contract with GIS1 who does our parcel data maintenance, road center line, CUVA and FLIPA calculations, and that's for $7,200 annually. There's no cost for this MOU, but this gives permission for them to sell our data and make money to keep the prices down, basically.
What data do they sell?
GIS information.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on that?
I was gonna say, I'm on social media enough being bashed. We don't need to sell anymore.
None of that.
No one has any questions? We have a motion.
So moved.
All right, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Number 4, no through truck designation and signage for Gold Mine Road and Roswell Lee Road.
We've received several complaints on Gold Mine Road and Roswell Lee Road with traffic cutting through from 54. There is 18-wheelers that live in the neighborhood and they don't have an issue with their neighbors, but it's the constant coming through in the middle of the night, the jake braking, just to, you know, it's really tough on the streets, you know, all of that. And with industry being right there, there's a lot of cut throughs in there. And ever since the no through truck signs went back up on Forest Road, they're seeing more of it in their area. So we would like for the board to consider making that a no through truck designated area so that we can put some signage up and hopefully get some assistance to the residential.
I would say it makes sense to do it. I mean, unless there's.
I mean, does it connect a state road? And since we stopped Forest Road through, is it something that is
I talked to
necessary?
Colonel Hadley to see if there was anything, and it's at the discretion of the board, but I don't know if there's any legal issues with it. Yeah, we have done it
We've done it
before.
before. We put up no through trucks, so.
One closed
We're
off.
gonna get impact on state roads. You're allowed to do what you will with your roads, but the impact on state roads. So, I mean, we need to take a further look at what
We can.
that would do, and then if you want to send this something, look at it, or
They are county roads. It's just cut throughs off of a state route.
Well, I'll tell you what.
So the state route wouldn't be included, so why,
No.
why do we have to worry about theirs?
you probably don't.
Well, look, why don't you look into it, but I'm gonna make the motion to go ahead and approve the signage. If it's wrong, you can come back and tell us.
Upon approval of the attorney, why don't you say it that way?
Okay, upon approval of the attorney.
All right, we have a second.
You got a second?
All in favor?
Sorry, Mike.
Thank y'all.
I mean, I'm very grateful for what GDOT does for us, state does for us, but I'm not so worried about their roads. Not after stuff we go through. All right, number 5, Leroy Robinson Road. Commissioner Hines, you asked for this to be added.
Yes, when the county came up with the criteria of how you go from a dirt road to a paved road, Miss Josie Reeves and came to the county and got the forms, filled it out and submitted it, and unfortunately has not heard anything back. And I would like for us to follow up on that for a lot of reasons. For this board, you know that Miss Johnson Reed and her sisters has attended, excuse me, just about every meeting that this board had for at least 5 years consecutively. I think the time, even before you. And one of their main objectives to come was to talk about their road. They had been petitioning to get their road paved for the past 20 years. Since we now have implemented a policy and a procedure to do that, they would like to hear back from the county regarding that and where they stand in reference to their road getting paved.
Does anybody have any information on that? Do y'all have where they?
I don't remember seeing, I remember to pick it up, the applicants, I don't remember seeing it come back in. I do know there's a long stretch at the beginning where there's not a lot of homes, but, we'll be happy to take a look at that and the full criteria and present that back.
And we need to see if they turned information in, where it is.
We, we adopted that, in 2019 or 2020?
Yeah, along with the T-Splosh stuff, but
So I know as soon as we adopted, I know she came and got a copy and then filled it out, so where has it, and we can,
Another copy of it, and that's for the, just, without giving that when you get that over the records, I'll be happy to hand it over a copy.
all right, anything else? Thank you. We'll have a report from the county administrator.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did want to share that GACE received a commendation from Secretary of State, and GACE is the Georgia Association of Code Enforcement. And I can pass this around to you guys just to kind of take a look at it. This was issued on October 27th, and our code enforcement officer is going to begin classes at GACE soon, and Cassandra actually is on the board at GACE. So, in the ACCG local lens for the week of November 5th, they actually featured the Meriwether County officials and DNR opening the renovated boat ramp. So there's a picture here. But it was actually featured in the local lens with ACCG. So we made ACCG's happy news.
Yeah.
Just an update on the trees. 3 have not been decorated. Once those are decorated, we'll make sure the power and everything's working. Just a process. And Lake Meriwether, the punch list is supposed to be finished up Monday. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Ms. Irizarry? All right, we'll move on to a report from our county commissioners. Commissioner Hines.
just wanted to say to everyone, have an enjoyable Thanksgiving, be safe, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Plant.
Same thing. I was going to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy our many blessings. So that's it.
Ditto for me. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope it's a nice weekend with your family and lots of good food, and see everybody back here next week.
Same here.
Very
Happy
good.
Thanksgiving.
Definitely want to wish you the best of the season, and I appreciate those comments we got about the dinner. Some of you sent emails and
Yes.
little notices and said thank you, and that meant a lot. Michelle just told you what was going on down at Lake Meriwether. Did you say anything, Michelle, about the fire station?
Oh, I did not. Thank you, sir. I apologize.
I want to say that.
My apologies. I put one of these at each of your seats. This is for the ribbon cutting of the Greenville Fire Department, or fire station. It'll be Wednesday, December 7th at 10 a.m. Hope to see you all there.
I just had a couple other things. I've been down at the lake this week, kind of filling in for Mr. Robert, and this morning was cool until that sun finally broke through. I can tell you that. But again, hearing next week should have us all complete down there. We'll need to do a little something down there for the opening of the new RV side. And the airport's coming along nicely. They've got the concrete's poured, and they're just waiting a 28-day cure before they get on there and start with the steel. And that's all I've got.
All right, thank you. Now we have a report from our
I'll
county.
see you again.
Uh-oh. Yes, ma'am.
Well, good afternoon.
Hey.
I heard Michelle say December 7th for the grand opening. Is
Yes,
there a
ma'am.
Specific time normally be?
10.
It's at 10 a.m. And I can give you a copy of the invitation.
We have a report from our county attorney.
I have no report. I do understand from, we do have need for executive session for personnel.
And litigation.
And litigation, okay?
And litigation.
All right. We will be having an executive session, but let's go over our future meetings and notices. November 24th and 25th, which will be this Thursday and Friday. The offices will be closed for Thanksgiving holidays. December 14th will be our regular 9 a.m. meeting. December 23rd and 26th is when the county will be closed for Christmas holidays, with the holidays following actually on the weekend. They'll be closed on that Friday and Monday. And we will not have the last regular meeting of the year, which is December the 27th.
But we will have a special call.
But we will have to have a special call meeting to approve the minutes from the December 14th meeting, once that's done. All right. We're glad all of you are here tonight. Have a safe trip back home, and if you want to wait around, we get through executive session, of course, you're welcome to do that. Can we have a motion to go into executive session at 6:54?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, we're in executive session. Our motion was made by Commissioner McCoy and seconded by Commissioner Threadgill. All in favor to come out of executive session. Can we have a motion to go back into regular session?
So moved.
Have a second? All in favor? All right, there was no action taken during executive session. Is there anything else to come before the board?
Hearing none, I make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.